Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from a throwaway account, and before we do get into it, I just want to give you a warning. It does contain abuse and domestic violence. Titled, I'm female 34. Losing my family because they think I hid the fact from them that my ex, now sister's female 28 husband, male 35, is abusive. I don't want to go into all the details because it is long, boring, and still painful. Some bits at least, but I met my ex 4 years ago, and I at least was madly in love with him. For 2 years I was blissfully happy until I took him home for Christmas, and I caught him making out with my sister. It devastated me. My ex tried to apologize, kept trying to get me back, but I didn't want anything to do with him anymore. And 3 months later, my sister and him were expecting their first. Now they're married with 2 children. My family forgave them eventually when children were in the picture. I kept my distance, but I've met them on occasional family gatherings. I still feel hurt by my sister, but other than that, I'm good. Last weekend, my mum asked me to come home for something urgent, and there was my dad too. They told me that they were disappointed in me for not being honest about my ex being abusive. I was shocked, but my mum told me that he is very abusive to my sister. That's when my sister came to my parents and I saw her face and cut lip. I was shocked, and I really couldn't say anything other than I never knew. My sister became very upset and started yelling at me, asking what the F I meant by that I was so much better than her, he didn't hurt me. I said no, but no amount of swearing that I didn't know and that he must have hidden his true nature. My mum told me to leave and that she was very disappointed. I've cried every day now, remembering my sister's face, but I just don't know why this happened to her. He was so very kind and gentle with me, but I can't explain why he was that way. I don't know how people like him work, but according to my sister, if he is abusive once, then he is abusive all the time. I have no experience with people this way. I couldn't answer her. He's been abusive to her since the beginning of their relationship. When I calmed down, I text my mother because she wasn't answering my calls, and my sister is right, and abusive people are just abusive, but that maybe the circumstances may be different. My sister is younger. I knew that some men show their true colors after marriage or after children, etc. My relationship with him wasn't of the same nature. I tried every explanation, but this just seemed to trigger her further, because she texted me back that I'm a liar that hid the truth from them instead of warning my sister. She asked if I thought I was better than my sister, not to have been abused by the same man. Like it is about the woman. Better women get less abused. I couldn't believe what I was reading. I texted her that she was disgusting to say something like this, but I regretted it so much. Now nobody from my family is talking to me, not even my father, who I talk to on a daily basis. I don't know what to do or how to help. I really need help explaining why my sister's husband is what he is. I feel so guilty. So this guy who cheated on you with your sister at a family event, your family all seem to have forgiven it because of children are now in the picture. Now your family are all turning their backs on you because of something you didn't know, you can't control. And I don't understand the family's logic as well. You know, they're seeing that the sister is being abused, but instead of being concerned for OP and saying, did this happen to you? They're like, why didn't you tell your sister? You must have known this was happening. Just no concern for OP whatsoever. And there were some comments below this one, like According Ad, who says, this is a no-win situation. Say he did abuse you, then cheated with your sister, and you had said, don't do it, he's abusive. They wouldn't have believed you anyway. Nothing about what happened is your fault. You have done nothing wrong. Please don't blame yourself. Burned Potato says, so they're being abusive towards you because he's abusive towards your sister. They're truly focusing on the wrong thing. I'm very sorry for both you and your sister, but they're both wrong to pin this on you. Even if he was abusive towards you, well, you could have known. He's still the one doing it, not you. Vegetable B says, no offense, but why do you want this family? Your sister betrayed you. They took her side. You left and did not want anything to do with your sister. Abusive people have a good way of hiding it. This isn't your fault. He's a shitty person. But I will say, find a family that will treat you better, not one that will always make you the one at fault for things that aren't. Edit, and like another poster pointed out, What did they expect from a cheater? Didn't she get all the signs she needed that he wasn't a good person? An OK Risk says this is a projection. Your mother has a daughter she raised who has the moral compass of a cucumber. Cheat with her sister's boyfriend. You, the injured party, eventually allow your family to forgive them for their rotten behavior. You go on, they go on, have kids, and now that there's abuse, it's your fault because you didn't warn your sister not to cheat, get knocked up and marry your boyfriend. She's the golden child for sure, but you, my friend, need to get a backbone and defend yourself. In no uncertain terms, would I tell your mother that you are disappointed in her for always making excuses for your sister and you the scapegoat? Your sister learned from the best on how to treat you, by her mother. I know it will hurt, but I'd rather be alone. If you don't, you'll be expected to support your sister financially, babysitting, and whatever else. Get counseling, set boundaries, and defend yourself. Opie then does update the post and says, "Hello again, this is an update. I'm so sorry that I went silent after posting here, but I actually wrote my post very late at night and fell asleep afterwards. When I logged in the next day, the post was locked and I couldn't answer any of you. I want to thank you for the attention that you've given me because I've been so lonely. I've read all of your comments and I've answered as many DMs that I could. I'm sorry for not being able to answer anyone. I see that cutting all contact with my family is the most common advice that I got, and you are probably right. It is time for me to move on. I never completely and wholeheartedly forgiven my family for accepting my sister's betrayal, but I understood that my parents wanted to be in their grandchildren's lives, and I would never have wanted the children to be deprived of the love of grandparents since they are innocent in all of this. But at the same time, I needn't, however, like or accepted their forgiveness. I just love my family, and losing my sister was a hard blow. I just didn't want to lose the rest of my family. I kept my distance, however, aside from my brother, 30 male. I don't think I mentioned him in my original post. I'm still close to him. Many of you asked about why my family didn't see the fact that my sister's husband cheated with my own sister as a red flag. This is the first thing I asked my mum, but her answer was very disappointing, so I didn't even think to include it in my original post. She just made it about me needing to get over it and let go of my grudge. I have felt some type of guilt because I only talked positively about him before I introduced him to my family, about his generosity and kindness. He treated me like a queen and his family took me in with warmth. He went out of his way to make me happy and all the dreams we shared about our future together, the places we would visit, and I was so happy when he expressed how he couldn't wait to spend the rest of his life with me. Maybe this is a red flag. I was so happy with him, and that is all my sister heard me talk about since I met him. With all this in mind, I totally understood my sister and her reluctance to believe me, that he showed another side, if yet his real side with her, especially when I know that she is in a very vulnerable place right now. I thought I would be understanding and reach out to her once again. I explained everything that I wrote to my mum and the post here, that he probably always been what he was. I got so many stories of girls written to me here about their experience with abuse and how and why it started. I sent my sister their screenshots with the girl's permission. My sister is 7 years younger than him, while I am only 11 months younger. I didn't live with him. I didn't have any children with him, and I wasn't relying on him to provide for my children since I didn't need to stay at home to raise children. All in all, I sent about 30 Instagram DMs explaining. After 3 hours, my sister sent me a very short reply. "I know that you are sleeping with him, you fucking whore," and she blocked me. I didn't even cry this time. Today, my brother asked me that he wanted to see me. He came to me after work. He said that my sister had sent everything that I've written to her to the rest of the family and that she was raging mad. My parents are angry with me for distressing her more than she already was. My brother told me to cut my losses and lay low. You can't help her because she just wants to blame her misery on somebody. From what my brother had gathered from my mum and sister, her husband had been violent with her since she refused to terminate her first pregnancy, so the abuse started just a few months into their relationship. My sister was growing more paranoid with time that her husband would cheat on her with me, and probably others. But that was the reason she always disproportionately hated me. She hated me because she always thought that I would try to get back at her by taking him back because I was still single and hadn't moved on. It got worse because she always asked him why he was gentler towards me, and he told her that it was because I wasn't a cheap whore like her, which made her believe we still had contact. She also found his secret Instagram account where he followed some girls, me included. It hurt me to hear all of this, but as my brother said, I can't do anything. She refuses to leave him, even with my parents' urge and assurance that they could take care of her and her children. I'm heartbroken for her, but I don't think I can do anything. I'm cutting my family out of my life, and that's my final decision. ETA, I saw many of you calling me a doormat. I mean, I know you mean well, but how juvenile to use such terms. I'm neither a doormat nor do I lack self-respect. I held my head high when I suffered pain from betrayal very few of you can relate to, so forgive me when I say I don't respect your childish behavior. Be better. A couple of comments from OP to add additional information. They said, I actually have already been very low contact with my sister. I've only seen her a few times, like my cousin's wedding and family gatherings. Never met her in private. She eloped, so there was no wedding. I wasn't going to attend, and I never went to her baby showers or anything. I've never texted her privately. I only have her on groups iMessage with mum, dad, and little bro. But now I'm going no contact with mum and dad too. I need a break. Next comment said, I'm 100% sure that he would have become abusive towards me too eventually. And that's what I try to explain to my family. I can't help but try to think back on our relationship, trying to remember what red flags I've missed. Another comment says, after the shock and the heartbreak, I felt lucky, but now, knowing how he is treating my sister, I wish he chose someone else to cheat on me with. And now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from a throwaway account with an update as well, saying, when my 40 husband 38 male suggested open marriage, my marriage ended in my heart. He just asked me out of the blue 7 to 8 months ago, and my initial reaction was, I am not enough for him. I mean, yes, I know I could make more effort, lose these last stubborn 5 pounds, maybe put on sexy lingerie more often, and I don't know, spend less time with our babies and not sleep halfway through our movie night on Fridays. But it still came as a shock to me that he wasn't satisfied with our life. I thought we had a solid foundation of mutual love and respect, and we both have high sex drives. He explained that it has nothing to do with our love life or relationship. This could just be something more to add for the both of us. My marriage died then and there, in my heart at least. I didn't want to make any rash decisions while heartbroken and act without thinking carefully first. I said no, and that it was nothing I ever wanted to try. He said that it was fine and that he loved me immensely. Now months have gone and I've been thinking carefully, but my initial feeling that my marriage died isn't changing. He has noticed and even complained that I've been distant and that he wanted me back, but I don't know. I don't think it is working for me anymore with what my husband suggested looming between us, even if he hasn't approached me with his suggestion again. It is not just the feeling of inadequacy that is putting a wedge between us, but the thought that he can imagine another man being with me, touching, kissing, and being inside me without it making him sick with jealousy. I even think this part hurt me more than him wanting to sleep with others. We have 2 children together, 4 and 1, and our marriage is working very well. We are compatible in every other way, and our babies are happy. How can I ask for divorce knowing that nothing will be the same for my babies anymore? I need advice on how to move on with him with all these feelings inside of me. I can't just divorce a man for asking me something and then respecting me when I said no. I just can't. And there was a couple of comments on this one where OP replied. So the first comment said, everyone is different. I'm not in an open relationship, but we are swingers and we live perfectly fine. I love my wife with all my heart and could never see myself with another person. Maybe seek therapy. I don't think he's a bad person or loves you any less. I know this because he had enough respect for you to bring this up instead of just cheating on you. OP replies and says, I respect your way of life, but I don't want to live like you no matter how much you love it. I don't want a husband who is okay with sharing me. I know it's a kink and many men even get turned on by the idea. These men are not my type. It's a real turn off for me both sexually and in a relationship. Another commenter says, and quotes OP, saying, I don't want a husband who is okay sharing me, and goes on to say, that is very different than saying you want a husband who is interested in monogamy. You want a possessive, controlling husband who categorically not be okay with you exercising sexual agency if sex with other people were what you wanted. You want an abusive relationship. You need psychotherapy. What? What the hell? Anyway, OP replied saying, lol, you try so hard to make your lifestyle the superior one. It wasn't enough that I said I respected the way that you view love and sex, even if it wasn't for me. No, you felt the need to shit on the way I want to live and love to feel good about yourself. I know many poly people and people in open relationships that are very abused and in very abusive relationships, so take it down a notch. Nobody is perfect. What you offer is not what I want. It is a huge turn off for me. This is the whole point of my post. I'm turned off by my husband's request. Now, I kind of feel like it's one of these ones where I feel like I might be a bit of a dinosaur, but at the same time, I'm with OP on this one. I know if someone came up to me, we're married, someone came up to me and then they said, I want to open our relationship, I totally understand OP's feelings on that. Of course, it's going to make you feel less than. It's going to put so many questions in your head about your life. Sure, he can ask, you can say no, and life moves on, but that doesn't change the feelings that he's created here. And I kind of feel like, if you knew at some point down the line that you may want to open the relationship, maybe you didn't, maybe this is all something new, but if you did, it should have been something that was discussed before marriage. I mean, come on, you must know, you got married, you must know each other in such an intimate way that you must know your wife is monogamous, wants to be monogamous. And sure, you can ask the question, but you can't be surprised on the outcome of it either. And I've got nothing against polyamory or anything like that. Opening your relationships. If that works for your relationship, then absolutely. But I think the way that this went about, you got married, you got kids, and then suddenly you spring it out of nowhere that you want to open the relationship and then expect the other person not to have any kind of reaction to it. Of course they're going to have a reaction. It's going to open so many questions. Like I said, though, maybe I'm a bit of a dinosaur with this type of stuff, but for me, that would be yeah. But OP does put an update to the post and says, I want to start by thanking everyone who wanted to help me. I really appreciate you. Before I update, I wanted to maybe apologize for the poly people who found my post offensive. I don't know, but seeing that I was very clear in my post that your lifestyle wasn't for me, I don't know why you still made superior comments about how better off you are, and even in making it sound like wanting a monogamous husband equals wanting an abusive, possessive husband. In what delusional world are you living? You know how many poly men/women I know are in very abusive relationships. Why do you feel the need to shit on other people's choices to feel better about yours? What am I missing here? Anyway, I don't know about my feelings. I've spoken to my husband about how I was feeling. I told him how I was turned off by the whole thing, and that even if he respected my no, something is broken inside of me and I don't know how to mend it, how to find my way back. I told him that even though he would fully promise that he had chosen me and the life we have together, will always know that is not really what he wanted. I told him that the thought of him being okay with sleeping with others and the thought of him being okay that me, his wife, being in someone else's arms makes me sick every time I think about it. I also asked him whether he was already sleeping with others / or have had someone in mind. He swore up and down that this wasn't the case and he gave me all his devices to check. He just wanted to try and open the marriage because, I will paraphrase here, monogamy worked when people died when they were 40, but now we live till we are 80 to 90. Maybe it wasn't enough. I'm the love of his life and that won't change, but do we want to be exclusive for 40, 50, 60 years? I asked him why he just doesn't want to commit to me until one or both fall out of love or we go our separate way. But he said that he didn't want to fall out of love. He wanted us to be together because he loves our life, but also could see other people so it doesn't get boring. I told him that the life he is dreaming of isn't the life I wanted at all. He was very alarmed and said that in that case, he chose me and our family. He would do anything to gain back my trust, including therapy. I will try that as a last resort, but to be totally honest, I think we are over. I just don't want to throw in the towel without exhausting all options because I want to look back and know that I did everything in my power to save my marriage. I have even contemplated giving him a pass to open the relationship on his end, but I'm not sure if I could still be intimate with him, and what kind of a marriage would that be? I know this is just an update, but please, if you have more, just hit me. And there was one comment that said, does he know how close to over your relationship is? Opie says, well, he asked me a couple of times if I'm planning to leave him, and I answered honestly each time. I love you, but I don't see ourselves as us anymore. We'll always wonder if what we are is enough for you. He kept saying that he is sorry and that it was all a stupid suggestion, but I think he is just desperate to keep the marriage up. And thinking along as we went through the update and my previous comments, I was thinking, is there possibility of getting past it with relationship counseling or anything like that, really opening up on your feelings, your worries for your future, etc., etc. But then when we was getting further down in this update, and it went on to, he commented that monogamy worked for people when they died when they were 40. Now we live to 80 to 90. So for 40, 50, 60 years, do we want this? Because it could get boring. That still rocks me. That those words, that's still like, what the hell? That person's thinking, they're getting bored of our relationship. They want something else, etc. And again, I just want to reiterate, I got no problem with anyone that's in a polyamorous relationship. Absolutely more power to you. But I know, and I absolutely 100% know for myself, that wouldn't be something that would work for me. So take those as opinions from myself, and, not judging you or whatever. I'm not attacking anyone for their own relationships, but I totally understand where OP's coming from in this. But now I'm going to turn it to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for spending your time with me today, getting involved in the stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Man, I remember being so naive when life was good, weather and palm trees. Back in the day, you were everything I need. But then along came a time when you crushed my dreams. Oh yeah, you played me like a fool when you made me believe that the line between love wasn't thick enough to read. Oh yeah, you see we in despair, crime everywhere. You're selling false hope cause you just don't care. Nah, you just don't care. Nah, you just don't.